This is how to build the ideal e-commerce team for a 7 or 8 figure e-commerce brand. This is based on my experience building an e-commerce brand, doing about $6 million a year, and then selling it. This is the exact structure I would use and I have used for an efficient and lean, this is the priority, and highly profitable e-commerce team. You don't want a bloated team. You want it fast and efficient so you could focus on direct response and funnels and ads. So let's dive in. The creative team. This is the most important. This is where you want the biggest talent. And this is where you want to spend most of your time. I did daily meetings with my team because this is the powerhouse of the business. If you're running a direct response funnel, this is what's making you all your money. So I had 4 video editors. This is just dependent on your quantity of creative testing. When you're doing VSLs, of course, they take longer to edit. And especially when you're doing a lot of hooks, we were testing dozens of hooks and leads per week. So we had a lot of editors around the clock working. In another video, I've shared my system that I use to create all these VSLs and videos. So video editors, graphic designer, media buyer. This is very important. The best way to do it is to find someone who's experienced, but not too experienced, because you want to be able to train them your way. So mostly you're looking for character traits here and obviously some experience, but you don't need a professional because you could teach them your way and you have your own SOPs, etc. A copywriter, this was my main thing. I tried out a few copywriters, but it's just such a high leverage position that unless you find someone really good, it's going to be tough. And most people who are the type of copywriters you want are running their own business. So I ended up writing the copy myself. You can definitely create systems and SOPs and have structures and trainings to train someone, and then you'll just have a lower win rate, but you can have more efficiency and more delegation. But also I just enjoy copywriting. So I maintained that position. If I were to have kept that business and built it up, to an 8-figure brand, I would definitely have hired a copywriting team. A project manager to manage the videos, the systems for creative testing and production, and then a web developer to create the advertorials and websites. Next is an operations team. On the operations side, you're going to want a project manager, an assistant. This is the fulcrum of the operations. You're going to want a really, really smart, very resourceful, thinking on their feet type of person. They will handle all the meetings, all the organization, the relationships with partners, with suppliers, with agencies, etc. And this is it's very important for this person to be very upbeat, positive, and very intelligent and resourceful, because they will be, the quality of this person, they could be a big bottleneck because the operations can be very clunky in an e-commerce business if they're not done well, if they're not simplified. Next is accounting. You either want an in-house bookkeeper and, build a whole accounting team if you have a bigger business. Otherwise, I would suggest outsourcing this, working with a partner or a fractional CFO. And this way, that you're on the ball because they are professionals at this. And there are even specific accountants, like the e-commerce accountants, that work specifically with e-commerce businesses. Next is customer service, also very important for e-commerce businesses. A customer service manager, this is again the same way the operations manager is the key to good operations. The customer service manager is the key to really strong customer service. So the customer service manager should be someone who's experienced, who is, again, thinks on their feet, speaking very well with customers, has a very good attitude, and should be also a team leader. This is like a sales manager type of character where they are motivational, supportive. They give constructive feedback rather than, criticism. And then you want your reps. And email is most important for e-commerce. That's still the norm. Phone support is becoming more and more important. So ideally you want people who can speak fluently in English. You could outsource definitely to Asia. And you can outsource to other countries, but fluency and now with ChatGPT and Grammarly and these AIs, it's less important. But regardless, the better quality of English that these people speak, the higher quality your customer service will be, the less chargebacks, the less problems, and the more efficient your business. And live chat is also a great option if you're a bigger business. Otherwise, it could be really a headache. If you're a smaller business, managing live chat can be very expensive. HR, you just want kind of an HR manager. This could be, if you're a smaller business, the same as your operations manager. This is someone who manages the job boards, the hiring, the posts, and then the logistics of you interviewing the people if you're doing all the interviews. Or if you have a bigger team and you have a more experienced hiring manager, HR manager, they can handle the interviews themselves. And you can do just the final round. They're also important. It's important that this person understands people and team building and team engagement. And then they could organize the logistics of engagement activities like team meetings, catch-up calls, calls where you can share your mission, vision, and values, and just kind of build a strong culture. So this person should be your right-hand man or woman in terms of building culture in the team. This is very, very important. And then you have your partners. This is also just as important as your own team. These people don't work for you, they work with you, but they are just as important for your business. So one, if you're just starting out and you're growing quickly like I was, I outsourced a lot of non-Facebook related tasks when it came to, it's still marketing stuff, but non-Facebook related. So I could focus all on Facebook. I outsourced it to different agencies. The best way to get in touch with these people is through referrals and through your network. Agencies are very hit or miss. There's a lot more bad ones than good ones. So I would highly recommend reaching out to people that are in the e-commerce industry, that are experienced and have run successful businesses, and get their recommendations for agencies. Because I've been through so many agencies that are not good. If you're in this industry, this is a constant issue. But for email, for native, for YouTube, and any non-Facebook platforms, for Google search and retargeting, etc., it can be very worthwhile to hire if you find a good agency that takes a lot of work off your plate while not really sacrificing so much results. And sometimes if you're not that experienced in these platforms, getting better results than you would. And then in addition to that, you can learn, and your team can learn from these agencies. You can kind of work very interlinked with them, with meetings, having meetings frequently, and also examining the work that they're doing, so that eventually you can take over. That's one thing Alex Hormozy talks about that I really like, is that he'll work with an agency for a period of time and be very upfront with them that, hey, we want your services and we want to learn from you, and then we want to bring it in-house. And the agencies are usually happy with that if the price is right and you have a strong relationship. And that could be a great way to transition from agency to in-house over a few months. Next is your suppliers. If you're just starting out, definitely don't ship from AliExpress or these places. You're going to get low quality stuff. That's just no way to build a business. The least you can do is go to CJ Dropshipping and get a private agent, and they have direct connections to different factories in China and I think across Southeast Asia. This can be a great source if you're starting out. And then I would say get an agent directly in China who's very plugged in. Go to China, or Vietnam, wherever you're getting your stuff. But usually China is by far the best place to get your products produced. And form direct relationships with these factories and suppliers. This is how you're getting the best prices, the best quality. If you're not directly communicating with your factory, they're going to cut you on quality. They're going to kind of screw with you a little bit, and maybe not on purpose, but they're not going to put the same amount of effort as if you have weekly meetings and you're communicating with them constantly. Then you have your supply side, your shipping side. If you want to go this direction, then 3PL and warehouse, I have experience with this. Once you get it set up, and if you find a good one and have a good relationship, it can be very, very efficient and very hands-off. Especially if the price is right, you have to be careful with fees. Definitely, if you have big volume, you have more negotiating power and you can get the fees very ideal for you. Keep in mind that these guys also make a profit. So whatever you pay to them is not money that's going to you. The only way around that is to either do drop shipping and have a really strong relationship with your suppliers to get shipping times below, 10 days. If you're going above that, you're going to have issues. But you can also go your own warehouse. That's another direction, or a fractional warehouse, or lease it or whatever if you're a big business. And then last is your infrastructure stuff, Facebook agency accounts, connections with Facebook representatives. This obviously requires some scale. The agency accounts don't require scale, but to have a direct connection with Facebook requires some scale, and that can be very, very powerful. And then payment processing. If you're in this industry, again, the issues with Stripe, with PayPal. Even if you go to Hong Kong and these places, you'll still have some issues with that. I recommend private payment processors. Again, reach out to your network, because there's a lot of shady processors that will not be conducive to a drop shipping or e-commerce business. So do your due diligence on these and have multiple processors, so you can rotate them, so you can have a healthy payment processing infrastructure, so that this doesn't become a bottleneck in your business. And then once you're running really clean and you're at scale, you can definitely go to Stripe and PayPal and form more personal relationships. But it's still tough. Even if you're at scale, it's still very tough. You can look online and see plenty of people doing big numbers having issues with PayPal and Stripe, because they are just too big to have that personal relationship, and they don't really care as much about smaller businesses. So this is my list of just a basic outline of how I built my e-commerce team, and how you can do the same if you're doing, at least multiple six figures a month, I would say, to have a team like this. Otherwise, you can be very lean. You can have this creative team can be just a media buyer who can also be a project manager. You can use contractors for your web developer, your copywriter, your graphic designer, and your editors. You don't need to bring these people on full time. Although I do recommend your media buyer be full time. Operations, again, you can cut this all down to just a project manager if you're doing less than $500,000 a month. Customer service, you need these. This is very important no matter what scale you're at. It's just the quantity of reps that changes as you grow. Again, you can also outsource customer service to an agency. We tried that. It's just not as good quality if you manage it yourself. But again, the trade-off is you're going to have to put a lot more work into it if you're going to manage it yourself. And then HR, this is not super necessary if you're at a lower scale. And then your partners, this is just scale dependent. Again, you're going to kind of feel this out as you go when you need, new partners. So that's really it for this video. Check out the description for a free swipe file of 200 plus VSLs, advertorials, and e-commerce brands that you can swipe from and study. And thank you for watching. Peace out.